Dan Mullen, the perfect hire until he loses a game or two or five. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down every team in the Power Five, the major independents, and of course, we're delivering our predictions. You do the same for us. Leave your prediction for this video on Florida football in the comments section. All right, let's talk it up. Talking the Gators, 4-7, 3-5 in the SEC last year. Nobody expects them to repeat that type of season. Otherwise, the evaluation on the Dan Mullen hire will be much different this time next year. All right, great hire here. Obviously, he knows the program. He's worked in Gainesville. He's worked under Urban Meyer. He knows the culture. He knows Gator football. He's a beloved son there. He has SEC experience developing a program, building a program with less resources and less talent. He's likable. He's built a clean program at Mississippi State. All right. Now it's time to show up and do the right things on the field. All right, everything has been peaches and cream since Dan Mullen was hired all the way through till opening day. And it probably will stay that way until Florida loses a game. And the better games, the tougher games on the schedule, of course, are down the road. And more than anything, Dan Mullen was hired because he's a quarterback guru of sorts. All right, Jim McElwain had the same reputation. That did not turn out. But he did not have the reputation of the track record or resume of building a program and winning in the SEC. The quarterback situation in 2018 is not the best. Felipe Franks, 54% last year, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He has to get better. He most likely will be the starting quarterback, although it has yet to be named as of this airing. Kyle Trask, lowly regarded out of high school, has given Dan Mullen and his staff reason to pause and to give him a shot. Emory Jones is the future as the 5-star number 5 pro-style quarterback coming out of high school, 85th rated player in the nation regardless of position. David Waters of Gators Breakdown joined us earlier this week. Check out that video. It was a tremendous discussion on Florida football personnel and the outlook for 2018. All right, the running game is going to carry this team, and Felipe Franks is going to, let's assume he gets the job, is going to have to be better, more like a 60% passer who throws double the touchdowns than interceptions. That would be a reasonable but ideal situation statistically for this Florida football team. All right, the running back position's really good. Malik Davis had a standout season last year with 526 yards and 2 touchdowns. LaMichael Pirine, 562 and 8 touchdowns, although Davis averaged between 1.5 and 2 yards more per carry than Pirine, and that's a cause for some of the message boards to light up in regards to running back distribution this season. Of course, one Jordan Scarlett, who ran for almost 900 yards 2 seasons ago, is back in play as well here in 2018. The wide receiver unit could take off if they are given a chance, if the ball is delivered on time and in the vicinity. Tyree Cleveland's a really good player, 22 catches last year, almost 19 yards per reception. Van Jefferson from Ole Miss, he is a stud. He will stand out as well as Kadarius Toney. They are definitely going to scheme some certain packages for Kadarius Toney to highlight his skills. Josh Hammond with 18 receptions last year. Freddie Swain, 8 catches, 1 touchdown. All right, the offensive line has been a concern in recent years. Rightfully so. It is much better. Martez Ivey, a stud with 112 starts and tons of experience, obviously. And all 8 primary players are back, and they're all 4 stars and better. So talented guys with experience coming back along the offensive line should provide the time needed for Trask or Franks and the running game to succeed. All right, let's get to the defense. The defense, whether it was under Urban Meyer, Will Muschamp, and then Jim McElwain, has been top-notch, sometimes one of the 3 or 4 best in the country. But it has slightly declined in the last couple years to where last year it was still good, but not top of the SEC good. All right. 18th or better in the S&P Plus on defense has Florida been going way back, going back 10 years. 18th or better in the nation out of 130 teams. So if you take the group of 5 into consideration, actually, because Florida's playing a difficult schedule, they're much better than that. They were 54th in 2017. Do I believe they had the 54th best defense in the country? No, they had one of the 35 to 40 best defenses in the country, but 54th according to the advanced metrics. Defensive coordinator Todd Grantham, he made his way from Starkville to Gainesville as well. He ran a very aggressive defense at Mississippi State, highlighted last season by Jeffrey Simmons and Josh Sweat playing defensive end and dominating on the outside. And the result was a top 10 national defense. All right, here are the playmakers. You've got C.C. Jefferson at defensive end. He had 13.5 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks. David Reese at inside linebacker, 102 tackles and 10 tackles for loss. In the backfield, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the nickelback, with 2 picks. He's one of the best in the country. And the cornerbacks are held down by C.J. Henderson and Marco Wilson. All right, the linebacking core, though, usually a strength at Florida. Probably the worst unit we've seen for the Gators in quite some time. And a lack of defensive tackle experience may hurt this team as well against the likes of the Georgia Bulldogs in particular. Special teams were really good last year, 15th in the nation in the advanced metrics, according to Bill Conley's SB Nation advanced numbers. The punter and place kicker, though, are gone. All right, let's look at the schedule. Non-conference at Florida State to conclude the season. The other games should be automatic wins. Therefore, it's 3-1 minimum, and Florida should be able to give Florida State a much better challenge than they have in recent years, and even a bad Florida State team really whipped up on the Gators last season in Gainesville. So it's at Florida State at the end. There you go. I think they go 3-1 because I like Florida State as a better football team, and they're in Tallahassee for this one. The SEC Western Division slate will not be easy with a trip to Starkville. Entertaining game just for the storylines with Dan Mullen going back to Mississippi State to take on the Bulldogs, and Florida has its annual grudge match cross-division with LSU. All right, they're losing to Georgia. They got to beat Vandy, of course. And then everyone else in the division is somewhat of a toss-up to varying degrees. I'm not going to say they're all a 50-50 split, but they're not certainties on either side, and no game's a certainty. Let's not take it to that extreme. But I have pretty much 85% confidence that Georgia is going to beat Florida, and I have 85% confidence that Florida is going to beat Vandy. The rest of the games, though, South Carolina at home late in the season when Florida might be much better. I think they're going to play well in the SEC. They do have the difficult crossover games with LSU and Mississippi State. 4-4 is the record in the SEC. It's 7-5 overall with a loss at Florida State late in the season for Dan Mullen. It's a decent, good, solid first season to get off the deck, get back to postseason play, hopefully for Gator fans, win a bowl game right there. Join our weekly newsletter. Get your email to MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Do that immediately. What we will provide for you starting with week 1 of the college football season. Stats, trends, analysis, some numbers and facts that you will not see anywhere else. Then you get the take from me, my perspective on the weekend in college football, and then an update on Mark Rogers TV's channel. All right. There you have it. The voice of college football has spoken on the Florida Gators. We will see you next time as we go through the SEC Eastern Division.